Hello and welcome everyone to the 1988 Brazilian Grand Prix. This will be season 1 of however many, maybe 1, maybe 17. Who knows? Since this is round 1, there's no need to cover any sort of point standings or so because everyone is at 0. But normally at the start I will leave my my qualifying lap, at least the one that I qualified with, so you can watch that happen in its full glory or suckiness, however it is. But yeah, we managed to qualify 3rd behind Prost and Senna, and I feel like I could have gotten P2, but you know, it's how the cookie crumbled that time around. But the qualifying was pretty interesting. We had our first 2 stints were pretty bad, and then we managed to go out for the 3rd time. It's at the 132.0. We were hovering P5, P6. We managed to go out at a really fast time. We were P1 for a second. We almost got passed by the Ferraris, but we managed to out-qualify both of them. And then in the last 5 minutes or so, both of the McLarens went out and beat us. So, yeah, that's how it went. Now, most of the people that finished in the top 5 or 10 or so managed to go out and do the 3-stint strategy. Some people managed to only get in 8 laps, which means they went out twice, and one of them was longer. But the qualifying still rendered some interesting results. It was fun to see teams go out and then go out again and then go out again and improve their time and time again. So the field moved around quite a bit. This has been interesting qualifying, so we'll see what happens in the race. Alright, welcome to round 1 of the 1988 F1 season here at Jacarepaguá. I've probably butchered that name, but you know, it doesn't really matter. It's somewhere in Brazil, that's as far as I know. I actually quite like this track. Most of the turns are very nice and rounded. They're very, very smooth. There's no, like, you can probably tell by the top left that there's really no jagged edges to this track. And it's quite fun to drive. We managed to qualify in 3rd. I actually messed up a little bit in my laps, so I could have potentially gotten 2nd place for Benetton Senna. But there's no way I'm touching Prost's time. Before we actually physically start the race will be the last 5 people from qualifying, because in 1988 only 26 cars were allowed to start. So you are gone, you are gone, you are gone, you, and you. So there we go. Now we're going to have 26 starters on the grid. This tends to avoid the Zach speeds being really, really slow and causing trouble later on in the race. Because for a fact, like even in 20 laps, we're all going to lap them. So that will avoid some of the jam packing that tends to happen later on in the race. Now, although we are 3rd position, there are 2 things that will most likely happen in this race. First of all, we're going to get a horrible start, because this seems to happen regardless. I've spent over an hour doing just practice starts. And I can't seem to make good starts to get off the line as fast as the AI can. So, I don't know. I'm probably going to get passed by the 2 Ferraris off the start, maybe Nelson Piquet as well. But it's going to be us in a normally aspirated car chasing the four turbos. Most likely, unless we get an amazing start somehow and manage to keep 3rd. So we're going to be chasing some turbo cars, and the turbo cars seem to always want to make pit stops near the end of the race, within like 5-ish laps of the race. They always seem to want to do this, which gives us a great chance to win the race if we can fend off some of the people behind us that are not as likely to make stops. People as Nigel Mansell, Riccardo Patrese, Gugelmin, Nannini, Capelli, and stuff like that. As long as they keep them behind us, there's a very good possibility that the turbos will pit, and we will win the race. Now, there's no mandatory pit stops. We don't have to stop. In fact, I fueled for 21 laps just in case. Just in case I rev limit too much. And I don't feel like I really need to change tires on this track, so let's just go. Let's see what happens. Pretty average start. We managed to stay out in front of, looks like, Alboreto, so we're only down to P4. Now the AI does get bad exits out of this corner, so this is a pretty good chance for us to make some moves as long as we have traction, which I currently don't. And they are quite slow through here. Oh, we're gonna tap the back end of Burger. But the problems are gonna start happening now. We're quite slow on the straights. So we are more likely gonna get past Balbaretto now. Unless we can hold it out at the end of the straight. We'll see. Albaretto's gonna go up the inside. He's still on the inside, and he's gonna back out of it, thankfully. But all this commotion has... Oh, and Burger's gone way wide. Oh, boy. But all this commotion, I was gonna say it caused us to drop back a little bit, but Burger made a pretty bad mistake. Oh boy, that was a really bad turn. Now I tend to always miss the apex on this corner, so it's gonna decide a lot of our lap speed. And we need a good exit out of here in order to stay ahead of anybody. We managed to outbrake Nannini and stay in P4. Our first corner was very good. So I might be able to sneak it up the inside of Burger here. Oh boy. And we do. Gonna see if we can go around the outside of Prost. And we can as well. So here we go, P2. Now Senna is a long way up the road. We're going to cover the inside right now. And this allowed Burger to make a move on Prost as well. Now the AI does brake later into this little SS section, but they also end up going slower. Oh boy. Because of how they run, I guess, through the corners. Oh, get the back end. Alright, so now my goal is going to be to stay as close to Senna as possible. Gonna get passed by Ferrari though. Prost is going to be up on our inside as well right now. But hopefully we'll be able to get Burger back coming out of this corner, because the AI seems to be really slow through here. And we can't. A little bit of contact, no big deal. Holding on to P3. And we're going to watch the turbos completely blast off down the straight now. Burger might have a shot at Senna right now. And Prost is going to be looking around the outside as well, but we have the good position into this corner. Somebody ran off the course there. And Prost is being really aggressive, and he gets on our inside left here. Now I'm just really trying to hang on to my positions. If Prost makes a pass, then he's still on the inside. We're going to give him a little bit of space, but not too much though, because that can happen. kind of annoying how through those two corners in particular, the AI is really, really slow. Like, it almost feels like I'm cheating to get back into position here. But around the rest of the track, they're pretty fast. Again, we're going to cover the inside. Prost might actually fully pass us here. We'll see. We're going to be side by side. It's not what I want. And he's going to back out. Good. Broke a little late. It's fine. Now, we're still pretty close. This isn't worst case scenario at all. If we can stay here, then we got a good shot at winning if the turbos pit. Oh, now it's Alberto back. He made a move on Prost. And he's going to get in front of us, but hopefully we're able to get back in front. Oh boy. That was messy. Ow. That little love tap managed to get us up the inside. Now, the one thing that I have noticed with the Benetton in particular... Oh, we didn't cover the inside. That's too bad. Oh, and Prost is coming too. That sucks. Hopefully we can stick it around the outside still. And we can. That was a little scary. Now, the one thing I have noticed about the Benetton in particular is that because it's not turbo, it doesn't really have that punch that the turbo cars do when you accelerate. So I can, even without traction control, I can almost floor it entirely most of the time and not have to worry about rear wheel spin. Now, since I've done a season with the Lotus team, that car was a little scary to drive, and in fact, it made me more or less despise the street circuits. Oh boy. As I'm saying. Now, we're probably going to get passed now because of a bad exit. And we do. Now back in P5. So hopefully we can keep Piquet at bay. In fact, I had a pretty... I drove Nakajima's car for that season. And Piquet seemed to perform quite badly. I don't know why. He wasn't very good. In fact, I think he scored less points in that season than he did in the actual 1988 season. Prost is leaving tons of room up the inside, but we're not going to be able to outdrag him now. And Piquet's on the outside. This is bad. Now we got the good position, so hopefully Piquet is going to not end up passing us. Good. Now, we've been more or less unable to show our actual pace around this track because I've constantly had to slow down in Sector 1. Sector 1 seems to be way better for us than it is for the AI. But then the rest of the lap is kind of just a battle of power, in which I'm currently lacking a little bit. I've also found the last two corners of this track are quite tough. Something about them, it's difficult to execute very well. Oh, and who's this? Nigel Mansell's now coming up the inside. But he's got the same power as me, and oh, there we go. Sometimes when double downshifting, these cars will do weird things with the clutch. I've noticed this. It's happened to me way more often with the Lotus than it has with the Benetton. That was just the first time it ever happened to me. But yeah, the clutch seems to do weird things when I shift twice. So we're gonna have to be careful with that. I've also just randomly, oh boy, this is close. This is bad. This is very bad. Alright, cover the inside. Oh, and we forced them out of the track completely now. We've lost a lot of ground too. But that should be made up quite quickly. The S's here. Oh, and Berger's leading the race too. That's interesting. Didn't notice that happen. But hopefully the simulated season won't be quite as bad as the real 88 season, with the McLarens dominating essentially every race except for Italy. Hopefully we get some competition up front. Starting to lose traction a little bit. But not too bad, not worried. Real Road is also on ×4. And that's mainly because the race length is a quarter of real time, so I wanted the track to feel like I'm in a full-length race. Mantel's going to be looking up the inside again. This is almost 3 wide, essentially. Luckily, we have a slipstream down the straight to help us stay ahead of Mansell. Oh, that's one of the Ferraris going really wide. Senna's back in front. And this is an interesting battle on the top 4 here. We're also being slowed down quite a bit. I feel like I could be lapping much faster than whoever's leading right now. Oh, Mansell fancies to look up the inside. We get hit again. Nice. But so far, so good. Our plane is currently working out pretty well. We're just kind of sitting. I don't want to be too aggressive because I don't want to kill myself. And I also know that, with the exception of 2 parts of the track, I am not that fast. Oh boy, this is bad. This is really bad. Oh. And we've given up a spot to Mansell. Hopefully we'll be able to get it back right here. Alright, maybe not. Next lap. Maybe here. No. Alright, well... traction might actually become a problem, but we'll see. Pika's going to have a go at the outside, but we'll be able to hold on to it. Someone's ran into the grass there. And this is a real train of cars here. I'd expect more of a gap at this point in the race, but I guess the 20% AI limiter is doing its job, keeping the pack nice and tight. Might drop this a little bit because this is a little much for lap 10 now. Treasy really wanted the inside there, jeez. And there's still some commotion going on out here. Hopefully we can stick more or less to the tail of Mansell for the remainder of this lap so we can go back through. Or he's just going to give us space now. And we've a little bit forced him out, but... oh, it's pretty much a racing move. And we got P5 back. But now the turbos are way out. Just show us how much of an engine gap there is. But oh boy, someone's running wide. The Ferraris are ahead of both the McLarens. But they're really duking it out here at the front. Oh, someone's ran wide. Ah! What is this? What is this? Come on. And we're on the receiving end of some bad luck here. Alright, it's time to make some moves. Time to get more aggressive. Because the Williams are probably not going to stop, and our teammate's going to be right on our tail now. This race is getting pretty bad. We're halfway through. I honestly thought my tires would be in better shape right now, but they are not. Gotta focus and make a good lap. Not let anybody else pass me because we're currently out of the points. But again, pit stop commotion should be on our side because we don't plan on pitting. I can make this fuel and tire combo last till the end. Again, someone's ran wide. We ran wide ourselves, but not too big of a deal. Right up on PK. These last two corners are going to completely ruin it again. Just don't get real wheel spin. And that's good enough. Cover the inside again. There's no way he's gonna be able to hold this. There's no way! There's no way. Now the thing is, I'm screwing it up in Sector 3, so I'm not able to be close to all this. Now I feel like 20% is a little high, so I'm probably going to have to adjust this for next race. Because the pack is a little bit too close. So you might see a little bit of a change. But I'm also not driving that well. Made some mistakes. We're gonna just go right around the outside of PK. Spoke too soon. Oh boy, people are really slow here. Now Capelli's the new challenger. Ugh. Oh, we left too big of a gap. Come on. Trying to find a gap to squeeze through, but it's kind of hard to pass around here when you're not fast on the straights. We essentially lose that slipstream entirely by the end. I might try to make a move here. Someone's ran wide again. right, here we go. And we've gone through, hopefully. Yes, we have. So back to P7. One spot out of the points. But the Williams are really battling right now, so we should be able to make a move soon. There's no way Nelson. Oh, Nelson spun. Oh, that sucks. He's really trying to stick it up the inside on a move that was essentially impossible. Not my fault. Oh boy. Traction really sucks through there now. Whew. 13 and a half laps through. But now we got a nice little gap behind us. Just about 2 seconds. Now we're also got a little bit of breathing room to ourselves, so maybe we get a nice little lap without slowdowns until we reach this train again. I broke a little late. Oh no, overcorrected. And there we go, pit stops. Great for us. Oh, a little bit of a brake check here from Patrese. Patrese ended up killing my Canadian Grand Prix last season. The brake check similar to that one, but into turn 1. Which is kind of annoying because I am from the land of Canada. And I hope to represent my country a little better than that, but you know, hopefully we'll do better this time around. Here's a move. We can make this one stick. Yes, we can. Cover the inside, and we're good. We're through. Now we're in P3, it looks like. Traction through there is really bad. Alright. We'll be able to drag this, though. Senna's really slow. He's probably going to pit too. And they both pit. Just like that. Playing the patient game. We're going to be in P1. So now, hopefully, with clear air in front of us, Sector 1 should be faster. Should be able to get a nice little gap before we get to the straight. Now this car really does feel like it's sliding a lot of time, especially now. Now, it's not quite as much as the 60s and 70s cars, the ones that you literally had to slide in order to go fast, but I feel like grip isn't there now. But here's a nice gap. Now we should be able to stay ahead of Patrese, no problem. But the turbos will be making the charge back up the field. Oh, that was horrible. And with 4 laps to go, they might be able to come back into this. Just like that, Patrizi stops too. So now we're alone. I don't know if we manage tires better than the AI. I don't know if we manage fuel better than the AI, but at least our strategy is currently working. There will be some tracks where I will... There will be some tracks, especially the street circuits, where I will be unable to make full race distance on that one set of tires because I'll kill the rears. But for this track in particular, I think I can stay up. We've got a 12-second gap behind. So let's see where this gets us. As long as I don't mess this up, it should be a pretty easy win. But again, I will be having a look, and I'll be ready to see the names like Senna and Alvarado. There we go, Alvarado P5. Oh, really slippy slidey through there, jeez. This might have been too big of a gamble. Only a 34-1 there. Downshift there. A little scared to take that corner flat. And there we go, Alberto's already in second. And there's a 13-second gap behind. But he will be on fresher tires, and he will have about the same fuel as me now. So he'll probably be faster, but we'll see. Just gotta focus and get good laps in. Pretty nice, except for that little bit at the end. Really careful with this corner. Not sure if that's the one that's called box, so I'm not going to call it box, but that little 90-degree corner. Managed to get to the last one good though. And we managed a 132.4. That's pretty close to qualifying pace. Really hesitant on the gas there. Got 2 laps left. I think we'll be able to bring this one home. As long as we don't do dumb things. The gap is closing a little bit, but not as fast as I thought it would. Prost, after all this, is in P3. Senna's in P4. Patrizi's in P5. So Berger's nowhere to be found. May have lost out at some point. Nice and smooth. Don't ride that curb. And gap now is only 12.5 seconds. But it is hopefully too big to make a difference on the last lap. So 32.9, that was good enough to stay in the lead. was almost flat. Lifted a tiny bit. Close enough. Pretty good for these tires. Only 11 seconds now. If this was half distance, I don't know. If this was half distance, then I would have probably lost the tire strat. But because this is essentially third, I think this race was about 50 laps. And the strategy may not have worked. We're going to hopefully not mess these up. Come around the final two bends. And win the first race of the season. In a Benetton. Out of all the cars that could have done it, it is this one. But we won purely on strategy. We weren't planning on pitting. And we did not pit. And we stayed out. And took it home. Whew. Right. That was a pretty challenging race. I felt around like lap 8 or so, the tires start to go, I guess, for their first go. Any sort of tires tend to go out the first time you notice. That's like the first time they leave you. And then when they actually like essentially explode as far as their surface goes, that's when you really notice again. So we managed to be on the second life of these tires by a lap around by lap 8-ish. And we still managed to make these last. In fact, we set pretty good lap times near the end. We managed to get a 1:32.4, which is 4/10 off of our qualifying time. And about a second off of the pole time. But I have no idea how these times compare to the actual 88 lap times. I know that some laps, like Detroit, VEI, even at 100%, goes almost as fast as what the pole and the race fastest lap were. But in some tracks like Spa, oh boy, we're gonna run wide. But on some tracks like Spa, there's a huge speed difference. Now I know some adjustments that I'm gonna have to make for next race. There you go. For next race, I'm most likely going to have to tone down the air limiter to make sure this packing up doesn't happen again. Because it was getting a little annoying. I like to have breathing room. The difficulty might go up to 105, just to go up to a nice little number. I was debating, but I was like, eh. Some tracks I still struggled to stay ahead at 100, but we'll see. Those changes that I'm probably going to have to make. Oh boy, it's even killed by a teammate there. Where did our teammate end up? Nannini only finished, oh, who knows where, in 12th. Wow. So we managed to win by 9 seconds, by 9.5 from Alboreto. If we made the stop is about 12 seconds plus slowing down for the pit stop. There's no speed limit, neither for us nor for the AI, so the pit stops aren't that slow. They're not like 20 seconds. The actual tire change is 12, so if we made the tire change, we would have probably lost out. We would have ended up somewhere behind Patrese, in between Patrese and Cheever, and managed to score P5. So the non-stop strat worked for this time, but this was a relatively slow, this was a relatively fast race as far as time goes. The fastest races will be probably around something like Hockenheim and Spa. Hockenheim will definitely be under 30 minutes. So not stopping there will be a good idea. But again, Hockenheim is a lap where you burn a lot of fuel. So running lighter and being faster might actually be a good thing, especially in cars like these, which tend to be slower down the straights. But we'll see. Hockenheim is way down the road, and we'll have to survive the Nordschleife first because we're still replacing Paul Ricard with it. But yeah, pretty good race. We didn't run into any backmarker problems. In fact, the Cesaris was the only one that actually didn't finish. Everybody else finished, and the last was Pirelli with Drew Martini, 43 seconds back, which is still like half the lap distance. So backmarker shouldn't be a problem for us this season, as they were last. But yeah, that was the Yaccarapagua Grand Prix, and we managed to take home the win. So yeah, next lap will be around Imola. Next race will be around Imola, and I am quite slow around there. I can't seem to find a nice groove. especially through the second and third sectors. I'm not that fast. So even if we don't pit, I don't think we're gonna have that of an easy time winning. So we'll see. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed whatever happened here. A nice action here. Some people, including myself, making dumb moves. But yeah, I had fun. See you guys next time.